Alright guys, welcome back for another video on HAIKYU Fly High. Now, a few people have been asking me to showcase my account, kind of showcase the team I'm doing right now, and also my 3 versus 3 team. So I'm going to do that in this video. It's quite fitting timing as well, because we just went past 200 days on this game's launch. So this is kind of my 200 days account showcase, I guess. So, number one thing was the most valuable thing on my account. If you guys seen my Sugawara summoning video recently, you know I spent good amount of diamonds just to get this. I spent 200 times on this banner just to get this limited time frame, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. I think it's worth every penny. All right, this is limited time. I also chose this portrait where Hinata got slapped or got hit by ball. Not actually sure which scene this is from. Do let me know if you know where this is from. But yeah, I quite like this my cosmetic frame now. This is probably the only limited time frame I'll be able to get, because in the future over those character the frames with the character at the bottom left or right corner, those normally takes, you have to get into top 20 to get those kind of frames. So Sugawara and Nishinoya banner was a bit of an exception, where you are able to get it from just being top 100. So yeah, this might be the only cosmetic frame I'll be getting on my account. Okay, so that's the cosmetic part. Now in terms of the actual team I'm using, so I'm using a receive-based team. Obviously, my eventual idea, I might do this at the end of the video as well, but the eventual idea is to have Suki and also Kuro, so that have very strong core of Hinata, Kenma, Kuro, and Suki, who they all have deployment bonds with each other, but obviously Suki and Kuro are not in the game yet. So for the time being, it's just more a receive focused team, where I have my liberal, which is my Komori and also Sakuza, and then also I have the camel duo. Now here I have picked Sugawara in this place. Before, previously I was using Kageyama, but the main reason is kind of just going for that double setter formation, so that I can substitute one person out for the liberal. Okay, so this is the formation I'm using. I'm picking Sugawara here in this position, such that basically he can be on the court definitely for at least 4 rallies, to make sure I don't actually lose anything from his skills. I don't lose any net stamina loss from this. Okay, now, rotation-wise, obviously the main ones I want at the back for as long as possible. It's going to be Hinata and also Sakusa, so that's going to work there here. And then as for the other position, I basically chose to have Hoshimi here and also Hirogami here. Hirogami is such that he can stay on the front for slightly longer, because it's obviously the better blocker out of 2. And then for Hoshimi, he will be my secondary blocker once he get rotated to the front. And also it's also quite nice in the sense that because of the way I'm positioned here, there will be one rotation where I don't actually have a setup. Sorry, I don't have a setter at the back. Therefore, there's going to be no liberal coming on either. However, in this rotation, I actually do have 3 characters all with receiving skill at the back. So that's kind of why, even though there will be no liberal for this rotation, I'm absolutely fine at receiving as well. And this obviously also ensures I always have at least one blocker, no matter what kind of rotation. Because the worst case will be like this, and if I lose 1 more point from this, it's game over. So that's kind of why this kind of setup, basically no matter which of the 5 rotations I'll be going into, there will always be either someone capable of blocking up front, and I will also have a good receiving defensive capability as well, no matter what's the rotation. Okay, that's basically the team I'm using right now for my main PvP. This is for defending, by the way. For attacking, I just change it up depending on the enemy speciality. So for example, if I am facing a receiving speciality team, I don't want to make mine power. So normally what I will do is I will swap, just trying to remind myself now, I'll swap my Sugawara to Okawa, and now I put my Aaron Ojira instead of, I think I normally put it instead of Hirogami, if I remember correctly. And then I have this kind of setup. Yeah, I have this kind of setup. So basically I get into a power speciality like this. What's going to happen is that I can, after the first turn, what I'm going to do is I will be substituting this out for Hirogami, so that once again, with the rotation, I can make sure I still have a blocker up front after the rotation has moved around. And then the other thing I will also be doing is swapping my Okawa for Sugawara, but I will only do that on the turn where I have lost a point, so that I know even if I put Sugawara in, he will just be substituted out by the liberal straight away. Okay, so this is basically my power specialty for attacking to any receive defensive teams. And then if it's a block one, what I do is, let me just quickly reset it. Okay, I lost my original formation now, but it's okay. But for the receive one, what I tend to do is I do it like this. I think it was something like this, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think this is the block specialty team I normally use. So basically, I swap out my Sakusa for Tendo, and basically that gives me 4 block characters. So I'll use this to attack into any power attacking team. The team rating is still decent, 188, right? And then obviously, once I have lost a point, so the rotation will move around, my Tendo will go to the back. That will be one I then swap into my Sakusa, okay? And then I'll still get back to my main team. So that's basically the different variation I use depending on how I attack. But the defensive team is always going to be this one. Okay, so this is going to be my main PvP team. And then let me show you my triple team as well, because I know a few people have been asking for that. So for the defensive team, for attacking, I haven't actually done much attacking recently, in the sense that I haven't really been needing to change around my teams. But basically for attacking, I try to focus on just 2 strong teams. But for defending, I decided to make 3 separate, equally strong teams, just so that the opponent doesn't get a free win. In reality, I don't think anyone actually attack into me, so it probably doesn't matter too much anyway. But basically, those are the 3 teams I've done. One is going to be based on this core of Hinata and also Crow, and basically it's going to be receiving base team. And then I'll have my Kita here, who is skill resonance 4 as well, just for club contest. So this one had to have the highest team rating. Now, obviously, with this kind of setup, I do still need 2 blockers. So I put Futakuji here, and also basically I put my 2 weakest blockers. And in fact, my Sugawara doesn't even really have a blocking ability. But because it's my strongest team, I don't really think many people will be attacking into it anyway. So that's kind of why I have basically like 5 receiving character, and then I just put in 2 random blocker, my 2 weakest blockers. Okay, so that's that one. And then for the next one is basically my original PvP team, which is a Shiratozawa school team. So basically it's the 4 members from Shiratozawa, so Tendo, Yamakata, Ohira, and Yushijima. And then I have added in 2 Horikawa as a center, and also Iwazumi, who obviously have good synergy with Horikawa and the rest of the team. And then the other one I put is going to be my blocker, which is going to be, because right now I have 1 blocker, right? So that's kind of why I put Hirogami here. And then the last team is kind of just my best of the rest, where I just kind of slotted different characters in together. Happen to make a defensive quick specialty team as well. And also, because it's a quick specialty, I can then slot in a few blockers. And that's kind of why I also have good enough blockers in the sense of the SSR Kuro and there's Suki. And then obviously the main attacking force is going to be this bond between SSR Hinata and also UR Kageyama, and then I also have Nishinoya him as my liberal, and then obviously I just put my highest remaining power characters here, and that's kind of why I'm able to get 3 teams which are roughly equal in team power, guys. So I have 170 here, 160 here, and also 150 on my third team. Now, long term wise, this is probably the team I'll be making. So once Suki and also Kuro are out, what I'm going to do is I'll just simply swap out my Sakusa and also Hirogami for those 2. And the idea here is once again I'll use the double center formation and have it as either my Kenma or Sugawara will be sub up for the liberal. And the liberal in this case, if possible, I want to change my Komori to Nishinoya here just so I can get a school bump, because I do have Hinata, Nishinoya, Suki, and also Sugawara together as well. Okay, so I do have 4 members from Karasuno. So this is ideally the team I want to make once Suki and Kuro are actually available. And then long term wise, this is probably the team I'm going to be making. I don't actually need the liberal here, because instead I'm going to use Iwazumi and also Koroi, both built with a receive build. because they're opposite each other, that basically means no matter what's the rotation, I will always have one very strong receiver at the back. And then as for the other members of the team, I am gonna go for Kuro and also Suki. They are very strong duo, especially now that there's also gonna be Hirogami SP, who will be resetting, so reducing the cooldown for Suki as well. And then I'm gonna have Okawa facing opposite to Suki. I haven't actually seen anyone on JP or Taiwan server do it this way. I don't know whether or not I'm just cooking, or maybe this is actually a bad idea. But basically, what I had in mind is that if you build Suki with a block build, what that basically means it will reduce his spiking cooldown down to just 6 net crossing, and then with Hirogami, you will be able to further reduce it down to just 2 net crossing. So Suki is literally capable of spamming every single spike, and with his skill resin 4 mechanics as well, you can make that unblockable every single time he crit, which is obviously going to be given because you have all cover. So basically the idea is that with this team setup, I can literally have Suki do an unblockable spike every single turn, which to me sounds like absolutely crazy strong. But like I said, I haven't seen anyone else do this kind of team setup, so I don't know whether or not I am just cooking or whether or not this is like a bad idea. So do let me know what you guys think. But yeah, that's kind of the idea, and that's also the reason why I kind of free up my Korai to do a receive build instead. And obviously I do have more than enough strong blockers, and in fact there's a block specialty team. So basically, I'm completely covered from receiving, from blocking, and also spiking wise, I have unblockable ultimate spike every single time.